Julia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to John Dudley Speaks. I'm your host, Tom Zollner. Today's episode of John's Perspective is a double feature. I also have my review of Born in the Wild by Thames up on the channel now. Check it out. Charli XCX is easily one of the most important voices in pop music and has been since the early 2010s. So much of her early chart success came from collaborations with Iconopop and Iggy Azalea. Her solo material at the time veered from the norm, establishing her as a virtuoso in dance pop, avant-pop, and electropop in her own right. 2017 was a huge year for Charli with the release of her mixtape Number One Angel, as well as viral singles like Boys, and then Pop 2, which closed the year out for her on a huge high note. A.G. Cook and the late Sophie by her side on these projects, the production here is innovative, intense, and immersive. Just a small indicator of the strides she'd take in the next phase of her discography. Charli was released in 2019, and its refining of the hyperpop subgenre, with the help of Andrew Watt and Dylan Brady, made it a generational pop release, with hits like 1999, Gone, White Mercedes, and Warm still retaining the novelty today that they had when they came out. But Charli didn't slow down during the COVID lockdown, quickly recording the widely acclaimed How I'm Feeling Now, further underlining her penchant for pushing the boundaries of hyperpop, this time with additional help from BJ Burton. 2022's Crash found Charli returning to her synth-pop origins, just with a little bit more bombast that we've been accustomed to, and honestly, it's to a diminishing effect. It's not a total miss, but it does lack a level of ingenuity that's traded here for straightforward commercial appeal. So with 2024's Brat, it appears that she's ditching the aesthetics of her predecessor in favor of a more direct club record, indulging the abrasive musical touches of the London rave scene, while also showcasing her proclivity for delectable pop melodies. And guys, this is one of the best albums of the year. At first glance, the suite of producers on Brat may seem like a too many cooks in the kitchen type scenario. The mix of A.G. Cook, George Daniel, Finn Keen, Circuit, Gesaffelstein, and Hudson Mohawk is actually the perfect EDM hyperpop concoction this time around for Charli. The buzzy minimalist synth runs on 360 are a solid parallel to the synthetic drums, elevating Charli's effects-laden vocals rather than competing with them. George Daniel pops off on club classics, the full-throttle house bass lines and drum passages feeling both underground and pristinely polished. And that's the thing with this record, Charli absolutely goes for the London rave aesthetic and nails it with presentation, tone, and style. Von Dutch contains phased synths and scintillating electronic drums, texturally adding a grungy ambiance that wears its dissonant structure like a badge of honor. Sympathy is a Knife is classic Charli, but her and Finn Keen's update on this formula plays with layers exceedingly well, allowing each passage to build in tandem with Charli's escalating emotions. Speaking of emotion, the Sophie tribute track, So I, features an extraordinary mixture of melodic synths and bassy undertones, centralizing the musical focus on Charli's heartfelt lyrics. I Think About It All the Time has a rawness that conversely isn't as sanded off as the 80s art pop of Apple, the 2010s EDM of Mean Girls, the two-step of Everything Is Romantic, and the glitzy dance pop of Talk Talk, and it truly makes it stand out as a composition. Overall, Charli & Co. flex on this album completely, providing us her most decadently produced, artfully constructed, and thoroughly exciting musical work that she's released thus far. Where I think Charli can often be criticized in her past work on the writing front is a perceived shallowness that evades perspective and nuance. I do believe that How I'm Feeling Now blew that fallacy about Charli out of the water, but Brat heightens the vulnerability aspect of her lyricism to a whole new level. First of all, So I is a beautiful testament about grief, written in response to the death of longtime collaborator and friend Sophie. It's a very authentic depiction of one's thoughts and anxieties, especially after losing someone important in their life. Think About It All the Time is a different side of that coin, looking far more inward and introspectively, and speaking about Charli's potential futures, rather than fixating on a past that wasn't finished. But what does Charli do to reconcile these issues? She dances, and she makes us dance with her. 360 and Von Dutch evoke confidence and brash, in-your-face queen vibes that are authoritative. Then Girl, So Confusing, which might be about Lorde, is an anthemic indictment of toxicity, backbiting, and just a general annoyance of someone. Then there's Mean Girls, which is Charli's ode to her fanbase and basically bad bitches everywhere, complementing the anxiety-driven Sympathy is a Knife about Charli's ponderance over her success in the musical arena. It's incredibly well-balanced work on the writing end for Charli that steers into a far more open direction that doesn't quell her well-defined, defiant posture.
It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl.
In direct opposition to Crash and its straightforward pop performances, Brat soars due to Charli's willingness to let emotion crack through her voice. And when I say emotions, I'm not talking about just the heartbreak and anxiety and insecurity exhibited on I Think About It All the Time and So I, but also the use of ultra-confidence as a vessel for coping. There's a declarative feeling and vibe in Charli's ratchet-esque approach to 360, Von Dutch, Mean Girls, and club classics. Her mix of dry, blunt verses and subtly smooth shifts across her vocal scale, turning out to be totally unique. Girl So Confusing and Apple are also excellent examples of Charli's ability to be amorphous in her delivery, skewering her usual formula to fit something that's in more of a post-punk framework. It's a true balancing act on the mic from Charli that never comes off as unfocused, because her disaffected tone complements her lyrical passion, so the message comes across with sincerity and clarity. I really think that Charli rarely misses on this album, and if she does, it's minor pacing issues. Everything is Romantic is great, but it could be argued that the build takes a while to reach a satisfying culmination. Rewind and B2B could also be pointed out for the same problems, but really for me, it's not a mark against the album by any means. From 360 to 365, Charli is locked in on providing a visceral experience, one with a consistent aesthetic, and she accomplishes that for sure. The track lengths are swift and flow into each other effortlessly, and she gives us room to breathe between dance bangers and mid-tempo ballads. It's everything you want in a dance pop record, and on top of that, we get to join the artists in their journey of growth and self-discovery in the process.
I don't wanna share the space. I don't wanna force a smile. This one girl taps.
Yeah, to me, this is one of the best dance records that's hit the mainstream in a long time, and easily edges out Charli for my favorite album of hers. It's a dirtied up, grimy club record that diametrically rivals Charli's slicker productions, so she follows that through on the lyrical side too, leading to just a stunning overall body of work that's one of the best pop releases this year. But hey, that's just my perspective. If you're a Charli fan, you're gonna love the crap out of this one. And if you're in dire need of an EDM album to be the party soundtrack of the summer, this one is that album. Alright, that's all I got. Bye!